have noticed, or you may have not have noticed, I'm in a completely different location today. Sorry for the recent lack of communication. I've just been stuff, basically. Oh, I don't know. Sorry. So, you're probably looking at the title of this video and thinking, what do you mean don't have OCD? Of course I have OCD, if you actually do have OCD. You might have just clicked on it for no reason. I don't know why you clicked on it. But the title is, you probably don't have OCD. At least, I think the title's going to be, you probably don't have OCD. Well, basically, okay. I want to make this video because I always go on YouTube comments, and I'm pretty sure you'll see this too. Someone will say something like, oh, that mic's so off-center, that's making my OCD go crazy. Or something like, I have OCD, and because your room was so messy, I couldn't watch past 3 minutes. Stuff like that. And, oh my gosh. Okay. I know that OCD is a serious actual disorder, and I'm not trying to, like, poke fun at that or anything, but we're going to be completely honest about, let's say about 87% of the people that comment, oh, my OCD, blah, 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 don't actually have OCD. They just think that because they don't like seeing things off-center, or da-da-da-da-da, they have OCD, whatever. But most of the time, they don't have OCD, and it's really, I should say, annoying me that people are suddenly all the time everywhere saying, oh, I have OCD, I have OCD, I have OCD, because they don't like how things, when they look unorganized or off-centered. That's not OCD. And I don't have OCD, so I can't necessarily know what it's like to have OCD, but I know what it's like to say, oh, that thing's off-center. I don't like that. Change that, make it normal again. You don't have OCD necessarily. Okay, first, let's take a look at what OCD actually is. OCD is actually a disorder. I think you guys all know it's a disorder. It's a disorder where basically anxieties are correlated to specific habits. And whether that is or is not liking things specifically in center or lined up perfectly, it doesn't matter. There's specific habits that go with anxieties. What people usually say when they comment, oh, I have OCD, they don't actually have OCD just because they don't like things off-center. Most of the time, what that actually is something called OCPD. Now, OCD stands for Obsessive-compulsive disorder, but OCPD, I think, stands for Obsessive-compulsive personality disorder, which is basically like you generally don't like things to be off-center or something. If you don't have anxiety, like actual fear, anxiety, correlated with that, then you probably don't have OCD. A lot of people don't have OCD. I mean, a lot of people do have OCD, but most people that say, oh, I have OCD, don't actually have OCD, and it's really, really annoying me. So, let's, OCPD is basically, like I just said, when you don't like seeing things off-center. I don't necessarily know if it's a disorder or not, but I know it's a personality trait as well, but it could be a disorder. I'm not exactly sure the whole details, you know? If you actually think that you generally have OCD, don't just like put it in YouTube comments. Actually go get it checked out. And if it's diagnosed, then yes, you do have OCD, probably. But if it's not diagnosed, then you probably don't actually have OCD, kind of obviously. You really do need to get it checked out. You can't, I just see people throwing around, I have this, I have that, I have this, I have that, with no actual use behind the meaning of the words. Like, they don't actually mean what they're saying. They're just saying it either for, like, effect in a sentence, unconsciously, or they're just saying it because they think, just because they do things a certain way, they like things a certain way, that means that they honestly have a disorder, which they probably don't, and it's really annoying me. People just throw words around like that, because those aren't words that you need to throw around all the time. When you say you have a disorder, you should generally actually have a disorder. If you self-diagnose that you have OCD, you probably don't have it. You could have it, and if you have OCD, you're probably going to realize that you actually do have it. But if a doctor doesn't tell you have OCD, please don't go around commenting on videos or telling people, oh, that was so weird, I have OCD, so blah, 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 it makes me crazy. It's making my OCD go crazy, like it's some sort of thing that you have, when most of the time, you don't. And disorders aren't something that are just to be thrown around. Disorders are not something to be self-diagnosed. I mean, if you actually have a disorder that you think, like, I know that I have trich, which is like, hair thing. You know what trich is, if you don't Google it. Because that's something that I can tell, and I know for, reasons that you could probably, like, see on the internet if you actually looked it up. You probably can't, not talking about trich right now. But, if it's just something that you think, it is probably not true, and you really do need to, what do you need to do? You need to clarify it, and you need to get it confirmed before you just go around saying that you have it, because then people might actually think that you have a disorder, and they're going to treat you differently, and they're going to treat you differently for a reason. They're going to treat you differently because they're obviously going to think, oh, I don't really know much about this, so I need to start treating you in a completely different way. Whether it's a positive way or a negative way, you don't want to say that. at all. So get it checked out if you think you have OCD. And don't just go around commenting. I'm repeating myself too much. What else do I have in my notes? Yeah, like I said, disorder doesn't need to be self-diagnosed unless you know you have it, blah, blah, blah. Because when you self-diagnose a disorder, you're basically, you're instantly putting yourself in a certain place. Like, you're putting yourself in a category instantly, and you should not do that. Because that can be bad for your mental health. Not necessarily in a disordery way, but just generally, if it's confidence or whatever it is, it can be bad for your health. And I'm sorry I keep doing hair flips. I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what the F is wrong with the lighting, but the good news is you probably don't have OCD if you think that you do. It's probably something called OCPD. Google it and see if that, because that's, I don't know if that'd be considered a disorder. It probably is. But I like to think of it more as like a personality trait. A lot of people have OCPD, so you're not alone. You're not the only one with it, and you probably don't have a disorder, an anxiety type disorder. So that's pretty good, you know? Okay, sorry if this seemed like really disrespectful. If you do have OCD, I'm sorry if I made it seem like you don't have OCD, but if you've like been diagnosed with it, or you're absolutely positive that you have this because you have like habits and anxiety completely like together, like you'll start getting like really bad anxiety. Okay, I'm really sorry if this offended you. Please don't take it personally. I'm not specifically talking to people with OCD, again, commenters that just throw the wording around, which I hate when people throw wording around like that because it's really sensitive. It's really sensitive. When people throw things sensitive around, they're making it numb. They're numbing the words. So it's not necessarily, it doesn't make as big of an impact. It's like when people just start swearing all the time, they're numbing the words, so they're making the words not as important. Or they lose effect and they lose value when you just throw them around. So yeah, again, sorry if it's disrespectful if you actually have OCD, or sorry if you do have OCD and blah, I just said that. Sorry. I'm just really sorry if you have OCD and you got to take offense. Please don't take offense to this. If you don't have OCD and you ever commented like that, just kind of look back on it. Maybe try and change the attitude. And maybe you have OCPD. So I'm sorry about that, but at least you probably don't have OCD. So hope you got that. That's something positive. Hope you got something positive from this video. Don't forget to check out the social media links in the description below if I can be bothered to put them there. And yeah, I will see you next time.